In this video, we are going to use IntelliJ IDE in order to write Scala programs. Even though I highly recommend using VI or similar editors, sometimes it might be necessary for different kind of reasons, you know. And one of the reasons could be that the company that you work for maybe having this kind of environment. And then if all other team members are working with some sort of IDs, probably you might like to work with that ID as well, because you might get some timely help and things like that. There might be certain kind of standards enforced using that particular environment. But when you work at home or when you are developing skills, I still highly recommend VI Editor. Having said that, let's dive into IntelliJ. It is a fun tool. You will see. Now I'm going to start my IntelliJ. I have IntelliJ license version of IntelliJ installed. IntelliJ IDEA. Okay, this one, the first one. I'm going to start it. And if you need detail about IntelliJ IDE, you can always do Google search. You can see that it's licensed to me. So I have a bunch of projects. Okay, so you don't have to worry about any one of those. If you want to create a new project, then you click on New Project here. Okay, and then in the left-hand side, we see a bunch of options here. You know, if you want to create Java project or Android project, you know, there are a lot of options here. Of course, these are licensed versions, so there are a bunch of options available. But if you see open source version, also it's not much limited actually. It's comparable, and you have a lot of free tools available. So if you need to use IDE for any reason, then I recommend IntelliJ. Of course, Eclipse is there, which is completely open source. Now IntelliJ makes your life a lot easier. We will see some of the features, some interesting features. Okay, since I am going to show you how to create a Scala project, I click on the Scala. Now you see the options here. You can use different other frameworks to create a Scala-based project. We are creating a Scala-based web application project. We can use Play frameworks like many other web development frameworks. One popular in Java space is a Spring. But let's not worry about that now. That might be a lot, you know, an introductory session in Java. Okay, I was just trying to give you some sort of flavor. And then, you know, so let's not worry about the activator also, because that's also another, you know, framework kind of thing that you can use to create Scala-based projects. Now SPD. SPD is a build tool available that comes for the Scala. You know, Scala platform. So when I say Scala platform, this means things written in Scala. Okay, Scala is a language, obviously, but there are a bunch of tools available, you know, for the Scala-based software development. So SBT is obviously the build tool for that. So if you select SBT and click on Next, now it's asking for name. So provide any name here, like my project, and then if you have it automatically picks some default location, and then when you type name there, it automatically creates your qualified name in the location chosen. If you want to change the location, you can change by clicking these three dots here. I'm not going to do that, so I'm going to just close this one here. And if you want to use different version of JDK, you choose that over here. You can do that. Of course, you need to install in order to make it available. And installation that can be done sometimes through the IntelliJ as well. You don't have to necessarily go to the terminal and then do the installation and come here. So that's the easy part with using IDE. And then SPD version also you need to choose, because the SPD version, JDK version, and Scala version, all three should actually match. You know, if there is a mismatch, you will get some compilation error in your complaints, right? So this should match. So I have this version already installed, and Scala version you can choose actually whichever version you want to create program for. So this is the easy part of using IDEs. You can just click on the drop down and then pick the version that you want to program with. And once you are done with this, just click on finish. It will create the project, and then we can just open the project and start coding in it. Since I have already created one, I don't need to create, so I'm going to cancel this. I'm going to just use the one that I created before. Okay, that is a temp work, just a temporary project for in order to show how to use Eclipse. I'm going to use that. I'm going to click on that. Now it's going to start. Okay, so now I have this project already started in IntelliJ. So we again, we won't be worrying too much about the project structure and those kind of things, because I just wanted to show you how to use IDE and then write Scala programs. But it might be helpful to see a few things here, just to kind of be comfortable with the environment. You see, if you you change the size of the left panel here, you can see the project name, the name that we saw outside. You see the project name here. Whatever name you provide, it will be shown here. And also it shows the location where your project is. Okay, in case for any reason if you need to go there and then do something from terminal, it has the location. And actually, good thing about IntelliJ is, which is different from Eclipse IDE, is that you have a terminal available. So I'm in terminal. If you do pwd, I'm actually, you see here, in the location that is pointed right here. Okay, so if I have to do anything, I can just do things here. If you like to work with the terminal, then the terminal is available for you. So obviously, if you're working in an environment where IDs are kind of supported as well as promoted, then obviously this is one of the options. Okay, now let's see. There are a few other items, important items here. Okay, inside the project folder, you'll see a couple of files: the build properties, and then plugin related configuration file. Okay, we're not doing any one of that because it comes by, because we're going to see the simple programs. But if you are developing a project, then it is important. So here you can specify SPT version. If you specify, if you want to use it, like you could specify that when you started the project, but later if you want to change it, you can come here and change it, actually, and there will be, when you work in a Scala-based project for a long time, there will be reason to change the version, so it makes the life easy. And then plugin SPT, yeah, it's easy. You can change the log level as well. And there are many other things that you can do with these files, since it's not the purpose of this particular session or video or even this part to actually work on large projects. So we're not going to discuss those things in detail. Instead, we'll just scan a few important items and then jump into programming. Okay. And then source is the source folder where all the source code is housed. And then good thing about Scala is it allows you to have Java program as well. And you can have Java, you can have Scala, and if you have different versions of Scala, you can have a separate package. And the resources is the place where you have some properties file, things like that. And then also, if you are developing a professional project, it is very common to have a unit tests. Okay, or you could have integration test, or all the any testing, any required testing. So here also the directories are, you can see that they're in parallel with the source folder. You have unit test for Java package. You have, well, there is a parallel resource package in case you have to have resources in order to test and provide certain values. Then you can have them here. And then if you have multiple versions of Scala, then you have tests associated with those versions of Scala. Okay, I think that should be sufficient for us. I'm going to collapse this one. Okay, then there's one more important file, build SPT, because we created SPT project. So that's the one that actually runs when you use the SPT command. You can also run from here. Okay, if you want to build a project, but we won't be doing that because we're not kind of creating project. That's not the scope of this video. We're actually writing some initial Scala programs similar to the one that we wrote for using the VA editor, and then see how to work with the IntelliJ environment. But if you're creating a project, then obviously this build SPT is going to be important. And we can also run that SPT from here, okay, like SPT, and then any command. Command, it could be it takes commands close to Maven, like SPT. You could say, like you have Maven, ambient, clean package, clean build, something similar. You can do SPT clean package, clean build, because it's on top of those tools. So let's not worry about that now. Okay, that exit. I'm going to this one now. Okay, that's let's just see what we have here. So for any reason, if you want to change the name, you can put that new name here, and your package will be created. You see the target folder here, because when you build, you'll create a package here. Okay, you create a jar file, WAR file, whatever you want to do based on what you have, how you have specified here. And if you do not know what jar files, WAR files are, please do not worry about that. That's also not the intention of this one. The jar is like a Java archive. WAR is a web archive. These are the deployable package. Once you have a bunch of compiled classes, you put them together, package them, and then deploy them in a server environment. And these days, you can also have server embedded within your package. So there are different ways of doing that, but let's not worry about that. And then you can specify the version of your software. It's like we're specifying the version of the software. It's your project, like you have a Microsoft Word certain version, right? Or Windows version, or Mac OS version, or Linux, like Ubuntu version, or Red Hat version, or things like that. So that version you specify here. If you have a small increment, maybe you might have 1.1, okay, something like that. So, and then the Scala version. If you want to change Scala version for any reason, then this is actually the place to do that. Okay, so that's all about this one. Now, I'll show you one more item actually. Let's go to tools and see what is there. If you have a Vim emulator, VIM, that means you can use commands that we used using VI last in the previous session, the first session, the introductory session. You can use the same commands here. So you can be with the comfort of the IDE, and you can also use the command. I'm going to disable it for now. Okay, I'm going to disable it because we already saw that using the real VI editor. Okay, now let's go to this one over here. I'm just going to create one simple program here. Okay, I want to create a Scala object. And the interesting thing is that you start with if you see the right click there, you only see the class there. If this is some limitation with this IDE, you only see Scala class, you don't see Scala object, or you can see trait or anything like that, right? But you just need to remember, for this version, you just need to click here, Scala class, and then once you one second, cancel. I'm going to go there one more time. New Scala class. I think that's what I clicked on one more time there. I'm back. Okay, if I want an object, okay, I clicked on the class, and then that's the caveat with it. So I choose object here. If I need trait, I choose a trait, and then I just provide the name here, and then any name, my first Scala program. Okay, and we don't need the extension here because it's going to be supplied automatically, as you can see here. And if you want to maximize, you can maximize using using a MacBook. You can just zoom out, zoom in, zoom out. Everything works. Okay, you can see the larger one here. See, when I didn't have to type object, I just gave them this name. It needs parentheses. Remember last time I was emphasizing on the open brace and then the closed brace together. That's exactly what this tool did for us. Actually, if I only write this one and don't write this one, write long program, I might just forget this. And if it's hundreds of lines of code, it's a little bit harder to track. Okay, having said that, now let's get started. Okay, I'm going to type the same programs, same way that we did before in the previous video, and identified here an array of string. Okay, and then we can type over here equal to, now see the bracket automatically closed for us, and println. All right, welcome to IntelliJ IDE. Okay, that is. Now I'm going to save it. I can right click here and then just run, or I can right click on here in the left panel, and then I can just run it. Okay, I just click and run. Now I'm going to see the output. If everything is okay. If there is an error, it will give me the error. That's the good thing about it. See, welcome to IntelliJ IDE. That's about it. So it's pretty quick, easy. And then another advantage of this tool is that if I make a mistake here, print here, okay, now it's coming in red, you see. So it's already telling you there is a, it compiles. Every time you type a line, complete a line and save, it compiles it for you. Actually, and says cannot result symbol print L, because there is no such method available. It's println or print, right? And also when I'm typing, you see, it gives a bunch of options so you can choose. This is a, or like autocomplete. So there's advantage is that if you are doing a lot of programming, and this might be handy actually. Once you know what you're doing, then it makes sense to actually just include, because it's much faster, right? But initially, it's not advisable to use this one. What happens is if you initially if you use this tool, and if the tool does for you, then you'll not even remember what kind of methods are there, what kind of classes are there, what kind of import you have to do. It's it becomes a kind of habit, and then when you have to go for interview, especially in the high-tech companies where you'll be asked to program in either words or using just a plain text editor, it will be hard for you because they usually do not provide IDs to program in the interview. In the top companies like, let's say, Google, Amazon, Apple, those kind of companies. So that's why I emphasized on using VI editor. But I wanted to show you how to use this ID, because this is one of the most popular ID for Java environment. So it's certainly good to know, because there might be a need for you if you're working in a team that uses ID heavily, and you might be better off using, or at least you probably want to be in sync with your team rather than using totally different. Sometimes when you use something different, it's valued a lot. Sometimes your team members want you to actually use the same tool that they are using, so that everything is in sync, and then when that is a problem, people can help each other. So that's the reason. Okay, that's about it. So that actually completes this particular session. But I'll show you one more thing here. So since we are there, so where is my program located? Okay, I'm in temp.prog. If I do that, I have a source. So if I want to locate my program, I'll have to reach up to that from cp. See, src. Let's see, main, and then I have Scala. Okay, we have inside Scala. Again Scala. Okay, now I see my program over there. Where is my program? My first Scala program. So my first Scala program is right here. Okay, that's that. And if you want to quickly, let's see how many. I'm going to just come back. If you want to quickly see what is there in the target folder, you can see that. Or it might be even faster here. Let's go back to our left panel here, and you can just see it here real quick. Actually, what is there when you build, what happens, all those kind of things. So we're not using that now, so we're good. So that's pretty much about it. So I will see you in the next session.